ANC leader Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the official address at the launch of the party's 2019 elections review in Soweto today. The party will comprehensively reflect, we're told, on some of its achievements so far against the underlined 7 pillars of its 2019 manifesto. This launch will be followed by provincial rallies and regional meetings and voting districts visits during the course of the rest of the month. So let's try to take stock of how the ANC is faring, if we can. Bring in political analyst Yolokazi Mfuto, who joins us via our video link this morning. Great to have you on the program as always. Thanks very much indeed for making time. I wonder what comes up for you when the ANC says it's going to reflect on its last tenure, if you like, given just how many challenges we faced in the last 5 years.
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Well, the ANC, it is a nice thing for them to actually go on a reflective journey. But lo and behold, we know that the ANC has not done very well from 2019, from their manifesto up until now. Remember the scandals that came with the COVID-19, the maladministration that we have seen. Also, the leadership that we've seen in the ANC has been very poor in terms of who they actually put for us, in terms of the local government, the provincial government, their members in parliament. Nothing has been great so far. We have small pockets of greatness that we've seen, but nothing that they can actually now use to campaign for them coming in the next elections. Yeah.
The party will, though, try to paint a much rosier picture than what you've said, right? And I imagine part of what they'll point to is the fact that COVID-19 era was unprecedented. Few people knew what leadership ought to look like in that moment. To what extent should they be absolved on the basis of that tragedy or, that crisis?
Yeah, so remember COVID-19, yes, it was unprecedented. No one had prepared for it. But the one thing that we've seen in the ANC was the fact that the corruption that came out of COVID-19, it sought to show us the quality of the leadership that we had in the ANC at that particular time. People having to take money that is meant for service delivery and to cater for the most downtrodden people of the country, for them to actually squander it. Secondly, no accountability that we've seen from the COVID-19 funding. That has been, we've seen corruption. People were actually, they were found to be guilty of money laundering. They've been found to be guilty of maladministration and so forth and so forth. But what have we seen out of that? So there's lack of accountability, which is a pillar in the ANC, saying that we want to be accountable to the people of South Africa. But we have not seen any result of that.
Yeah. Part of the pillars, since you are speaking about that, from that manifesto in 2019 include an inclusive economy for all, social transformation, safer communities. I think we're going to struggle to try find ways of commending the ANC on any of these points, given, again, even just the crime statistics we received in this country about how unsafe, frankly, we all are.
Yes, so it's quite difficult for us to actually even absorb the ANC. And even in their reflective journey, I was listening to the president yesterday saying that they are open for criticism, they are open, they are learning, and renewal is on their cards. They are renewing. The ANC is capable of renewing itself and cleansing itself. But one thing for sure that we have seen out of the things that they've listed in that manifesto there, instead of them actually achieving anything, the unemployment rate has gone up. We've seen that crime in South Africa now is rampant. We've seen that the quality of the leadership that the ANC is consistently giving us is actually subpar. We've seen that the ANC refuses to hold their public officials accountable for anything. They're quick to protect themselves and protect the organization other than protecting the country and the country's resources. Then now we've seen the president also addressing this himself under a cloud of the Phala situation, and no one has been held accountable for that. Instead, we've seen the state institutions such as the Public Protector's Office, the Reserve Bank, we've seen SARS. They all, saying the president has done nothing wrong, and the explanations that they're giving to the public are quite undermining to the public's intelligence and saying that the president has done nothing wrong. So this is quite a very volatile moment for the ANC to start their campaigning and reviewing of their manifesto, because there's so many things that are clouding their election and campaigns.
Yeah. Since the last election, some people might argue that we've also seen corruption being laid bare in the form of the state capture inquiry, its work, and the final report that was released by now Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. In fact, they'll point to that entire process as perhaps a feather in Ramaphosa's cap. Here's a man who was able to allow this process to unfold, come what may, and, you know, hopefully we're now all better positioned when we try to figure out what the next steps ought to be like for the country. Is that well placed? Do you reckon that is credit that Ramaphosa deserves?
No, the state capture. So the state capture, it was not only a state capture, the process itself, the commission itself was established under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma,
right,
who then later was also found to be in conflict with the commission, something that he can speak about on another time. But also President Cyril Ramaphosa was a deputy president during the whole period of that administration. So you cannot necessarily put aside or be isolated from the whole state capture commission. And remember, the State Capture Commission did not only, yes, it did cooperate and went to the State Capture to give evidence and which most of the wrongdoing was pointed to the then former president. But also remember, he was also found to have also other things, including the CR17 statements, including the other things, the Bosasa situation, his son benefiting money and. But those things were never highlighted. We don't know why the media maybe stopped covering those allegations. And why didn't they go to court and end? And the state capture now, no one has been held accountable. No one has been jailed yet. And instead, we see that the leadership of the ANC, now they speak ill and say the Zondo report now was delivered to the president, then the Zondo must allow now the president and the government to deal with it. So meaning that, yes, the judiciary has done the work, but the commission report can garner that dust in the cupboard at the presidency if the president is refused to act on it. So now we would like, as public, I think people would like to see people going to jail for what they've done, because this was a live broadcast. People saw how rampant corruption has been in South Africa and how high officials in government, from the ANC government also, have committed crimes without even flinching, taking state's money and using for their own personal benefit.
Yeah. You know, that manifesto in 2019 included about 220-odd commitments, and ironically it was under the theme, Let's Grow South Africa Together. With that in mind, some people point to the country's chronic unemployment crisis as a sign of the biggest failure of the governing party. And I'm afraid since 2019, the numbers are going in the wrong direction.
Yes, definitely. Unemployment is one of the many problems that we have in South Africa. And I think if unemployment could have been, if it was addressed and people have gotten job opportunities, many of the challenges that we have now in South Africa, including the fact that people had to lose their lives in a dilapidating building, and that is said to be hijacked in Johannesburg. People could have been in a position to actually be able to secure their housing. They can be able to secure their medical schemes. They can be able to actually have self-determination and not maybe as be dependent to government as they are now, because they are unemployed. So if the ANC government is failing to deliver what they have promised to people in 2019, and now they are not even reaching 20% of that target, what does it mean? How is the campaign going to go from now until the elections next year? So in the space of 5 months, are we going to expect that they are going to be able to deliver job opportunities and actually quality job opportunities? Because what we've seen also last year, after the State of the Nation address, the president released statements saying that in numbers, young people have been employed, referring to the education assistants that have been deployed in schools to assist teachers. And those people earn about 3,500, and now I think that has been relooked and reviewed. I think they've increased the money. But if you're going to offer people unsustainable jobs in the name of we want to increase the numbers, that is injustice to the people of South Africa. So it's very important that even as when we look into the deliverables and outcomes of their manifestos and what they've been promising to do and the numbers they give us, it is important that we also critically look into the numbers. What quality is there? If you said you have delivered houses, are you still delivering the apartheid designed houses of matchboxes and saying people we've given you a house, meanwhile you've given them a two-room house that is like a matchbox? It's a house that you can live in when as a government person. So those are the things we must look into as we also look into the review of the manifesto itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the other thing that the ANC is said to now says to be they are going to do is to hold provisional rallies. And I was trying to figure out how are the rallies going to assist maybe in terms of their reflective moment. Because if you call people to a rally, I do not think that you are actually expecting a very intimate, critical moment for people to engage you as an organization and tell you what they want and how they want it. So now if you're going to call people to a rally, chances are you are wanting to distribute T-shirts, play good music, and also entertain the people that they go back to where they came from without any improvement. So I think the rallies should also be coupled with very serious community meetings where ANC seeks to reflect in a very qualitative manner instead of gathering people in a big stadium where people are not going to be able to reflect properly with the ANC.
Absolutely. Despite everything we've just said, though, the president reckons the ANC will win with an outright majority after next year's elections. Is he just putting up a brave face for his supporters? Is he onto something? Or do you reckon he's completely disillusioned?
Well, he is not disillusioned, but definitely it's good for the leader of the organization to be very optimistic about the journey that they are embarking on. So the ANC might not win with outright majority come next year's elections, but definitely that one thing for sure, ANC still has a stronghold in the rural South African community, right? Because people have the belief that the ANC is the one that has delivered the things that we have now, the infrastructure development, the social welfare that we have, and so forth and so forth. But now, the ANC must not be delusioned to think that the opposition parties in South Africa are not capable of actually the coalitions that we've seen, and in the cities where ANC has lost power. That is not has been a dream that ANC has been differing, saying, no, we will never, ANC will govern until Jesus come back. We've seen in 2019 when they lost municipalities. So even in this case, there is a chance that the ANC might not win outright, but might win through coalitions, and then they'll still get the president because they have higher numbers. But for them to assume that next year they're going to win like the other previous years, I think it's completely disillusioned, because South Africans are tired, and they've now made sense of the fact that the ANC over time has become so complacent, and they are not now putting the needs of the people up front. They are protecting the organizations, the leadership within the organizations. Some of them have been proven to be self-centered. They assume that they need to govern until Jesus come back, and they are not delivering anything that they've been promising the people of South Africa.
Yeah, in fact, one official said exactly that. Yolokazi Mfuto, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. We'll see how it all unfolds as election season in South Africa gets underway. Yolokazi Mfuto is a political analyst.